Good morning, children. I hope you all are safe and healthy at home and you all have enjoyed your holidays. But now let's begin with our studies. So, starting today is the first chapter of history, that is, tracing changes through 1,000 years. Children, can you guess what changes I'm talking about, which have took a long back and still it's going on? Yes, it is about our country, India. That is, the changes which took place thousands of years before, and still the changes are going on. So, in this chapter, we'll study about the history of our country, Hindustan. So, let's begin with e-learning. So, first here, I'll be telling you about the new and old terminologies. That is, children, previously, as we all are aware it, our country was known as Hindustan. Then came the Britishers. They named, and children, one thing before telling it, I want to tell you about that the historical records exist in a variety of languages and which have been changed over the years. Like medieval Persian, for example, is different from the modern Persian. That is, there is a difference between the terms, the terminologies, that is the medieval existing of the middle time period and the modern time period. So, when the Britishers came, they named it as our country as India. Now, there was a great confusion about the grammar and vocabulary and also the meanings of the words. They changed as the time passed. That is, for the term Hindustan, today we understand it as India. But long back in the 13th century, when Minhaj-e-Siraj, he was a Persian, he named it as Hindustan, and for him it included only the areas of Punjab, Haryana and the lands between the Ganga and Yamuna, and he used the term in a political sense for lands that were only the part of the dominions of the Delhi Sultan, that is the areas which were under the control of the Delhi rulers, Delhi Sultanate. He included only those places as a part of Hindustan. He never included southern India and Hindustan. But when Babur came, I hope you all might have heard somewhere or the other the name of Babur. He used this word, he used this term Hindustan for geography, the fauna and the culture of the inhabitants of the subcontinent. Do you know what is fauna? You might have studied in the previous class, the flora and fauna. Yes, fauna means the animal kingdom and the culture of the inhabitants of the subcontinent. Subcontinent means one which is a greater part of the major continent, that is India. It is the major part of the continent Asia. So, it is also known as the subcontinent. Then in the 14th century, the poet Amir Khusro, he used the word Hind instead of Hindustan. And children, historians today, they have to be careful about the terms they use because they meant different things in the past. And this is very much clear about this very simple term like foreigner. Today we all know that foreigner means someone who is not an Indian. But in medieval period, stranger who was not a part of that society or culture, they use this term. Like Pardesi we call it in Hindi and in Persian we call it as Ajnabi. Now, what do you understand from this picture? It is in one picture, the forest dweller, that is someone who is living in forest is shown. And in another picture, someone who is living in city is shown. So for a person who is in forest, for him the city dweller is a stranger, and the one who is in city, for him one who is living in forest is a stranger. So this is how they use the term as foreigner, and they meant the different meanings for different people. Now children, another way, so this was all about how the terminology was used by the historians in the past. Now children, coming on to one major topic, that is historians and their sources. When I say the word sources, what do we mean? Sources means something, some proof which we have studied and which we are very well aware of. Now, the proof of what? The proof of our history, history about our country India. That is when we tell about so many things. Then naturally it comes in our mind. How do we know about all these things? So for knowing about these things, the sources are there, the various things are there, like coins, inscriptions, architecture and textual records. They all provide us with different information. And as the time passed, the textual records increased. Can you guess why only the textual records increased? Because there was no facility of printing, and on the other hand, paper was quite cheap. So people, the historians, they used to write holy text, chronicles of rulers, letters, teachings of saints, petitions, judicial records, and also they maintain registers of accounts and taxes. Children, do you know the meaning of chronicles? Chronicles means a record of historical events. That is what all events have taken in the past. They all were recorded in the proper chronological order. Now, the sources of history, children, as you can see, it is divided into two: literary sources and archaeological sources. Then literary sources, it is again divided into two: religious and secular. Religious means belonging to different religions like Hindu, Buddhist, Jain, etc. And secular means it doesn't belong to any religion. It is a common, like travelers, memoirs, biographies, plays, etc. And archaeological means that the archaeological department that has done different surveys, and they have found, after digging the earth, they found various things as the sources, like they found coins, monuments, artifacts, objects, inscriptions, different things have been found when the digging has been done, and with the help of these we come to know about our Indian history. And here is the picture of few archaeological sources which have been found, like inscriptions, coins and monuments. Children, what can you see in this two picture? Can you guess and tell me? In the first picture, we see an old man and is sitting and writing something. And in the other picture, we see a young boy, he is copying something from somewhere. Do you know what this boy is known as? He is known as a scribe. S-C-R-I-B-E, scribe. Scribe is a person who copied out documents. And in this picture, an old man is sitting and writing something on its own. That is, he is writing something original. But here, this boy is copying. And can you guess that when he is copying, he has copied the things as it is? No, I don't think so. Because when we copy something, children, there are many chances of changes. If we don't understand anything, we add our own words, our own sentences, and even we change the language. So, this is what the scribes have done. They have added their own ideas, they have added their own views, and they have made quite a number of changes in the original things. Now what can you see in this picture? Two pictures. Here you see a book named New, Modified and Twisted History. That is something new which has been modified, that is the changes have been made and twisted, and then the history is written. This is a book of history, and here a person is trying to study all the original records, trying to collect and read and study each and everything which has been written, handwritten. So, whatever I have explained, we can quickly go through it. No printing press was there, so the materials were all handwritten. So, scribes, they had to copy the manuscripts by hand, and they made slight changes. And these changes, they grew over the centuries and centuries. And making manuscripts of the same text, it was different from each other. And to find the original author book, it was quite difficult. So they had to depend on copies by scribes. And to comprehend the full information, we have to read various manuscripts. And he also revised their chronicles various times. That is, whatever events took place, they revised, they made slight changes. And in 14th century, one of the chronicler, that is Ziauddin Barani, he wrote his first chronicle in 1356, and another version came 2 years later in the country. What can you understand in this picture? Here, I think everybody can understand it's the early human being. And here also we can easily make out that a cultivation work is being done. So we can say that as the time passed, as the people they started migrating, as the invention of wheel took place and the different inventions took place, the people, the forest dwellers like the early human beings, they started moving towards the cities and the villages, and they started living a settled and permanent life. That is, they gradually started clearing the forest and they extended the agricultural work. Those who remained there in the cities, that is, they started tilling their lands and they became peasants, and then they were later influenced by regional markets, chieftains, priests, monasteries and temples, and then this led them to be a part of large complex societies where they have to pay taxes and they have to offer goods and services to local lords. And finally, this resulted in major economic and social differences amongst peasants or farmers. And then came a period of great mobility, means came the time of great movement. The people, they started traveling from one part of the country to another part of the country. Why? In search of great opportunities, in search of employment, in search of money. and subcontinent, it had immense wealth and a lot of opportunities. So, this is all for today, children. I hope you have understood the history of India, how it got the term India, Hindustan and Bharat, and about the sources, that is the historians, and what were the different sources of history, and how the people, they became the city dwellers, that is the life was changed from forest dweller to city dwellers, and how the everything started moving on smoothly and the city life improved more and more. So, this is all for today. Thank you. Have a good day.